welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be looking at the DJI Osmo 360 and looking at specifically my first impressions from someone who has never used a 360 camera before. So yeah, we're going to deep dive into some of the specs, not really focusing too much on the specs, but mainly looking at ease of use and, audio connection, how fun it is to use. I mean, I've only used it for, I could say, an hour max at the moment, but yeah, it's pretty fun. Not sure. Is it going to be a novelty? I don't know. But I do like the asteroid effect, or the little tiny planet effect that you see on 360 cameras. So that's going to get a lot of use. I took it with me for a run yesterday, and yeah, it was pretty good. And in today's video, we're going to share some of those thoughts. So I picked this up on 31st July on release day, and I actually didn't get too much use out of it. I was too busy really to even get it out of the box. But as I said yesterday, before recording this, I took it for an 8k kilometre run, and actually through central London. And it was really, really good fun. But as I mentioned, I'm not going to be talking too much of the big technical highlights of the camera today, or the specs, because we'll let the big channels do that. And as you can probably tell, I am not a big channel just yet. So we'll let them deal with that. And we're going to go into the more use cases of like someone who hasn't either used the 360 or is just looking to get into 360 camera use. So yeah, that's what we're going to look at today. So I'm in London, in Kennington Park. So if the audio isn't fantastic, I apologise. We're on the Mic Mini, obviously connected through Osmo Audio with the DJI Osmo 360. So it should be okay. Got a little bit of wind, but not too much. So we shouldn't get too much distortion, if any. I don't think we'll get any. It's a glorious day, sun is shining, about 14 degrees C here in central London. So yeah, first up, let's talk about form factor. So the form factor of DJI Osmo 360 it's actually a bit smaller than I was expecting. So it's more of a rectangular shape compared to the X5, and obviously you don't want to use it with holding it in your hand, but you could do quite easily. It sits up nice and straight, and it'll fit nicely in the palm of your hand. It's probably the size of a credit card. So if you've used DJI products, Action 5, Action 4, Pocket 3, then you'll be quite used to how the settings are in the Osmo 360. You'll be very familiar with the menus and the audio connections. So yeah, if you want to pick up one, or you want to, just experiment with them, the ease of use and your familiarity is going to be pretty straightforward if you're coming from the DJI ecosystem, because obviously all their products are very similar. So you don't need to worry about getting confused there in the menu systems or not knowing what you're doing for the first time, like I was when I was using this. One thing I do really like about this, or I'm going to like about this camera, I think, is how much potential it's going to have. So especially in like activities such as running, for example, you can get fantastic POV shots. You can get like full body shots, which is really good, I thought. And for example, skiing, snowboarding, mountain biking. Yeah, there's so much potential for it. And I think now DJI have gotten into the space to compete against Insta360 with the X5. Competition's going to hot up, and yeah, I think we're going to start seeing a lot more 360 cameras around and really interesting shots. They're going to be coming to the forefront of content, I believe. But just my opinion, I might be wrong. But like to see it. Obviously, another big one is it came with an adjustable mount, but that's also cross-compatible with, say, the Pocket 3 or the Action 5 Pro or Action 4 Pro. So that is one really, really useful thing that comes in the box with the Osmo Pocket, the Osmo 360. I'm gonna get my devices modelled up, I can tell this little chap, but yeah, comes with the cross-compatible adjustable mount, which is very, very useful. Another cool feature is the onboard storage. So long gone are the days of just say 40 gigabytes with the Action 5 Pro. We have got 105 gigabytes on board with the Osmo 360. So to be honest, I haven't used a memory card yet. I don't have one in here now. And yeah, there is plenty of storage. It gives you about an hour and a half, I think, of recording, a bit less maybe. But yeah, that is one very, very useful feature with the Osmo 360. Don't have to worry about micro SD cards because they are fiddly, and yeah, it is a very big plus with the Osmo 360. And a nice little perk that you get with the Osmo Action and in other devices is that you get the batteries. So yeah, I got the Adventure combo. As I said in one of my previous videos, my horrendous attempt at an unboxing video, I got the Adventure combo with the selfie stick and then the charging case, and also the get free 1950 milliamp hour batteries as well. And they are cross-compatible with the Action 5 Pro and I believe the Action 4 Pro as well, but don't quote me on that. Someone can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But yeah, very useful, cross-compatible batteries. So I've now got quite a lot of extra batteries, which is nice. And obviously the charging case as well, USB-C charging case. So if you've got a charger with you and you're running low on batteries, whack in your old battery and charge along. So very useful. And that cost me here in the UK, I think £550. So not cheap by any means, but definitely better value than yeah, some of the devices out there already, especially with the selfie stick and the charging case. So yeah, a nice little one there. Now, one thing that is really like looking to be quite significant for me anyway is the post-production workflow. And this obviously is my first endeavour into the 360 world with the DJI Osmo 360. But the post-production workflow, sorry, it's a big plane flying overhead, so if you can't hear me, I apologise. Yeah, the post-production workflow is definitely something that's caught my eye. It seems to be a little bit fiddly. It seems to be a bit slow, especially if you're using DJI Studio. Yeah, and efficiency, you know, with exporting and stuff. If you're used to super fast exports and you're not taking it directly into Davinci Resolve or Premiere Pro, then I think it looks like you're going to have to be waiting a while for your exports. But you don't get tons of animation effects, but you get some easing. I've only delved into it very briefly. You get some easing in the settings there. Quite a lot of filters or LUTs. Yeah, it's very basic. The DJI Studio app on Mac and on the Mimo app, but it does adds functionality and allows you to reframe the 360 camera quite easily, to be honest. But it's just the exports. It is early days, the software. So hope with a few firmware updates or just software updates that the DJI Studio will improve with each update, because there are definitely a few updates that need to happen, I think, in the early days. But we'll see. For example, one thing is you can only, I think, export to 4K H.265, I think, files. So, you know, something like ProRes, just to get all that quality A ProRes file would be very welcome, but you don't have that at on the DJI Studio app just yet. But hopefully that could come with some sort of software update. But I'm not going to hold out. Yeah, DJI Studio app, Mimo app, it's okay for first attempt, but there is plenty of things that it could do better with just a simple update or two. We'll hopefully see that soon. So yeah, let's move on to resolution. And don't be deceived by that 8K marketing hype. Obviously, yeah, it's an 8K sensor. You've got two 4K sensors joined together. But one thing I have noticed is a little bit soft when you bring it over to DJI Studio. You've got two 1/1.1 inch sensors, obviously 4K each, up to 4K each, and then combined you get that 8K resolution. It's not out of this world. It's not like pocket free level. I will test it with the Action 5 Pro, but simply just putting it into DJI Studio yesterday, I could notice a little bit of softness around the edges of the frame. Contrast, I do shoot in D-Log M because I like to color grade. Contrast, it did seem to be lacking ever so slightly. So yeah, I'm going to watch out for that. Colors seem to be pretty saturated, if I'm honest, when you put color recovery on in the DJI Studio, but for my workflow, I'll probably end up using my own LUTs and then using a plugin that I use for color grading. So yeah, I'd certainly like to see how it comes out of the camera now. Obviously, I've got a nice bright morning sun on me and surround. I'm going to imagine it's going to be looking very, very green. Got lots of greenery around me, as you can tell. Some nice colourful flowers as well. So yeah, we'll see how that looks. Interested to see how that looks. Obviously, full auto, which if you're going to be using 360 cameras for the first time and you don't have ND filters, you're very much likely going to be in full auto. And I think that's how I'm going to be using this camera 90% of the time, unlike most other cameras I have in my arsenal, because full auto at the moment, without any ND filters, seems to be the way to go to get the very best out of this sensor. And I've just touched upon, but D-Log M, massive, 10-bit color, massive. If you like pushing the colors in post-production, then those two features there alone make this one of the better 360 cameras out there. Even if you directly compare it to the X5, this really holds its own there. So big plus for color, and yeah, 10-bit color and D-Log M. So we're shooting right into the sun now, pretty much. It's just off to my right. One thing I did notice yesterday when doing that is that obviously the lens that was facing upwards, or the sun it was hitting directly, you'd get along the stitching line, you'd get a clear sort of a lens flare essentially. So you can just see two halves of the image. One was a bit less contrasty than the others. So not ideal, but I guess that's just part of the physics of having a 360 camera. So let's touch upon some of the negatives that not negatives as such, but some of the cons that I've noticed straight out of the box. And obviously this is just early days, so take it with a pinch of salt, but as I've just mentioned, the contrast in the image quality seems to be lacking, a bit lackluster, and obviously the edges of the frame is a bit mushy, you could say, not particularly sharp. I have turned down the I think I said earlier that I shot in full auto. I have turned down the noise reduction and the texture a little bit, and I did that yesterday as well when I noticed it. So maybe I'll turn that back up and see how much that impacts the image quality. So a big one, and why I'm sitting down now, is because carrying this thing around for a long period of time in one hand when it's extended into the 1.2 meter selfie stick mode can be quite heavy going on your wrists. So I've plonked it down in the path here in Kennington Park. It's actually a really nice area, this part of Kennington Park. Lots of flowers and water features. But yeah, anyway, back to it. Can get quite heavy if you're just walking around with this fully extended and not really resting. So if you, for example, my clip before this was 14 minutes long, and yeah, I didn't put down the selfie stick and I could start to feel it in my wrist. So that is definitely a slight negative, but I mean, what can you do? 360 cameras aren't particularly small, and they need to get the best look, and have the most fun out of the camera. You need it on the end of a long pole, so got to get used to it. So I just need to get a bit stronger, essentially. Yeah. I also touched on post-production and how that can be a little bit tedious as well, especially if you're not familiar with the processes. I mean, yesterday was the first time I used a .osv file, which is a 360 file. And yeah, I mean, DJI Studio was pretty straightforward for someone who knows how to edit. But if you're if you're very new to editing 360 video, then it could be a bit of a learning curve. And as well, like the keyframing as well. If you're not used to keyframing, I've done it in Davinci Resolve, Premiere Pro, After Effects, so I know, I'm not an animator, but I know the basics of keyframing. So it didn't come too much of a learning curve for me. But if you're new to that sort of thing, then yeah, the keyframing and composing your shots, reframing it could be a little bit tricky. But I'm pretty sure, like most things, the more you practice it, it will become much more straightforward and quick, essentially. But I think going forward, maybe after I've used the DJI Studio app, I'll use this Canar, whatever it is, VR plugin for Davinci Resolve, because I think that will just be help my workflow a little bit better. Okay, one of my biggest gripes is the lenses. If you even so much touch this with a fingerprint, or touch it, and even just brush past it and you smudge it, even the smallest smudge or bit of dirt, you're going to see it on the spherical lens. It really does stand out quite a lot. When I was running yesterday, obviously a bit sweaty, I didn't really feel like I had smudged the lens, and it didn't look like it either. And I brought my footage back in to my editor, and it looked like one lens had been smudged and the other half hadn't, so I had a lack of contrast there. And obviously the highlights and the shadows looked a bit funny, sort of a nice, well, not nice, almost like a lens flare effect because of that smudge. So yeah, just make sure you are cleaning your lenses regularly. Otherwise, you are going to be having lots of smudged, and you're going to degrade your image quality quite a lot. So be careful and be wary of that. Always have a microfiber cloth. I made that mistake yesterday, so I won't be making that mistake again. Always have a microfiber cloth with you to wipe it continuously. That is probably my biggest drawback of any 360 camera, not just this one. Yeah, even the smallest mark, even the smallest smudge will impact your image quite a bit. And obviously, do not drop this thing. Lenses are not replaceable, unlike the X5, which is extremely annoying. That'll probably come out on V2. And currently, I don't believe there are. There are lens protectors, plastic lens protectors, but I'm not sure how that's going to impact image quality. Probably make it really soft, lack even more contrast. But yeah, so if you just be wary of that. Don't crack them, don't drop it, don't smudge it. Otherwise, you've got to send it in and pay money. Get the DJI Care package, which I got just 1 year. So you get two 2 replacements in that time. But obviously I don't want to have to replace it because it's probably going to take ages. And I did see that I think you might be able to pay like £25 or $25, whatever it is, for an actual glass replacement, a lens replacement, so that's good. Okay guys, I think that's it then for my first impressions of the Osmo 360. There's going to be plenty more videos, but I didn't want to come at it with like full-on specs and technical details. I just wanted to, because I've never used one of these before, so I wanted to come at a slightly different perspective. How it feels to use as a newbie, essentially. So yeah, that's it. First of my 360 videos. There's going to be plenty more. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Give us a comment down below if you're going to be looking to get one, or you've got the X5, or you're skipping it altogether, or you're just not interested in 360. So yeah, thank you very much, and I will see you not so long away in the next video. Thank you very much. Cheers.